So you have four apps that come with your Mac that handle different types of media. First, we've got the Music app. So the Music app allows you to listen to music from two different sources. The first is Apple Music, the streaming service that you can subscribe to from Apple. This is similar to other streaming music services like Spotify. You could also use the Music app to listen to your own music stored on your own drive. This would be in your library. So you've got two sections here, Apple Music and Library. And the Library section would contain music that you have imported in. So these are files that you have. Maybe you have ripped them from CDs or downloaded them from other sites. And you can put them in here. To import songs, all you need to do is drag and drop any standard audio file. You can see you can just drag it in and it will add it to the library. And then you can view music in many different ways, like for instance by artist, and select the artists, by albums, just a complete list of songs like that. And you could go ahead and listen to the music in various different ways. It's a standard music playing app. If you're using Apple Music, then you'd be able to go here and you'd actually see Apple Music recommendations and new things, and of course the music that you want you'd be able to find when searching. When searching, make sure that you search by selecting one of these here. Just search what's in your library or Apple Music or the iTunes Store, which is a third thing you can do here in the Music app. You can go to the iTunes Store, and this is where you can purchase music on a per song or per album basis from Apple rather than subscribing to a streaming service and paying a monthly fee. So the iTunes Store, of course, has been around for about 20 years. And you may already have music purchased from it. And of course, if you have, you could re-download that music if you don't currently have it in your music library. So your library itself, when you go into here, is going to have songs that combine all of those. So songs that you have added in from files or imported from CDs, songs that you purchased from the iTunes Store, and in Apple Music you can add music to your library as well that'll exist alongside everything else here, as long as, of course, you still have your Apple Music subscription. And of course, you can play all that music using the standard playback options here. Just select a song and start playing it, and you can pause and stop and all of that. So it's a pretty full-featured app with lots of things like being able to display lyrics for songs and such. The next app is the TV app. It's similar to the Music app. The service in this case would be Apple TV Plus, the streaming TV service from Apple where they have various different original shows. But you could also use the TV app to view other things like your own files that you've imported in, sometimes free content from Apple TV Plus, and sometimes content from other services as well. Depends what you subscribe to. At the top you'll see Watch Now, which shows you a variety of different things. So here you can see some of those other networks that you may have a subscription to. You may have a subscription to some of those through your cable or satellite TV provider. Apple TV Plus is just Apple's original content. There's also the store where you can rent or purchase movies, and then you could watch them on your Mac, but also on your other Apple devices using the same Apple ID. The same thing for TV shows, episodes, and seasons of television shows. Then you have your library, and your library will show you a combination of those things, including movies that you may have added on your own. So you could drag any standard video file into the library here on the left. And you can see Home Videos appears. And now I've got that video here and I can play that back in the TV app. So it's very similar to music in which it combines the videos that you can add manually in here for playback and also videos that you get through streaming services and purchases as well. Next we have podcasts. And podcasts is a little different in that you can use this to subscribe to podcast feeds. You can search in here and find a podcast by topic or the name. You can go into the shows. You can subscribe to the shows and the new episodes will automatically be downloaded into the podcast app and ready for you to listen to or watch. You could also browse through the catalog of shows. Generally, podcasters will submit their podcasts to Apple, and that's how they appear here. If they don't, you could always choose File follow a show by URL and enter in the RSS feed for that show. And then under Listen Now, you're going to find your shows, all the ones that you subscribe to, and you can listen to the most recent episodes of them. Or you can simply search for the show, and instead of subscribing to it, you can just listen or watch an episode directly from here without subscribing. And then it plays back in a similar way to the music app for audio podcasts and the TV app for video podcasts. For the most part, podcasts are free, but there are some that are subscription. And finally, we have the Books app. And this is the media app you would use to read books. It's basically an ebook reader. So you can go to Apple's bookstore where you can purchase books, and you can get a lot of free content as well. There are a lot of free books here in Apple Store, which makes it a little different than Amazon Store, where there aren't really any free books aside from some special items. You can also get audiobooks from Apple, purchase those. And both the books that you read on the screen and audiobooks will be all stored here inside the library, and you can see what you've got currently. You could also drag your own in here. So you could take, say, a PDF file or an EPUB format file, drag it in, and it will add that book to your library here. So they don't have to come from Apple's bookstore there. And then you can go into a book like this and read it with plenty of different options. In this case, this is a PDF. Here's one that's an EPUB, which means that the text flows through the pages depending upon your settings. There are settings up here for enlarging the font. You can see how the text now is different on the page depending upon the size of the font and the font that you choose. And then you can flip through the pages of this book. There are other features for bookmarking pages and adding notes to the pages as well. So these 4 apps come with your Mac, and depending upon how you use your computer, you may find you use all of them or none of them, or some you use all the time and others you never use at all. And of course, there are alternatives to all of these. For instance, you can get the Spotify app if you'd rather subscribe to that service than Apple Music. You can get apps for different streaming services. There are other ways to listen to podcasts and podcast apps in the App Store as well as other ebook readers like a Kindle ebook reader that you can get in the App Store to read the books you purchase from Amazon.